What does the
Mm,
person out there do practically?
Let me again answer your question by taking a step back. Do fish oils work? And I think if you look at the Cochrane collaboration perspective, the answer would be, well, not really. The big meta-analyses indicate that the fish oils, at least those fish oils currently in the market, don't do very much. They don't seem to be hugely positive or hugely negative. If you want to go out and buy some and put them in your pocket and even swallow a few, well, they work. It's a bit like carrying the bones of the saints around with you. It's a good anxiety binding, but it won't do very much for you. And yet the epidemiology says very clearly, if you're eating fish, and particularly the oily fish, and that comes from the Zupfan study, it's really, really good for you. So there's this huge disconnect. How is eating oily fish good for you and fish oil isn't? And the answer is, well, they're not the same thing. There's things in fish, in oily fish, which aren't in the fish oil. Those are these really interesting polyphenols. And I would say to people who are interested in omega-3s, well, it doesn't really matter if they're free fatty acids, esters, phosphatidyl phospholipids. Forget about it. They'll get into the blood by the primary bioavailability. Any mug can do that. Once they get there, a lot of them are broken down before they can be incorporated into the cell membrane. And we know this because we've got this huge database now of dried blood spot tests where we look at people's 6-3 status, their fatty acid profiles. And we know that in the general population, the ratio is about 15-1, which is pro-inflammatory. In people who eat fish oil, it's about 12-11-1. So it's a little bit better, but it's still pro-inflammatory. In people who eat oily fish as a staple, and in North Europe, you'll find groups like that, the ratio is down to about 3 or 4, and they don't get chronic inflammatory diseases to anything like the extent we do, maybe 10%. And if you look at the people who take balance oil, which combines the same omega-3s and the same polyphenols, it's also down about 2 or 3, and they don't get chronic degenerative conditions either, except at about 10% of the rate of what we see in the outside world.